All right, so today we're doing a deep dive into the source material for SugarFops. That's the new D&D filler campaign Mike's running.
Right, just to keep everyone busy until the big All Day D&D 2025 game hits in December.
Exactly. But this isn't just, random filler. We think there's more here. We really need to figure out what this look into the past means for the main event coming up.
Yeah, that's the mission for you listening today. It's pretty specific. We need to get a handle on Mike as a DM, his very particular style, and understand his world, Alrys, the scope of it, and crucially, look for clues in SugarFops that might actually connect to the all-day D&D games, which are set, thousands of years later.
Okay, let's start with Mike himself. His defining trait. It's got to be the obsession with tiny details in world building.
Oh, absolutely.
Minutia. We're talking hundreds of pages. Stuff like the exact amenities in high-class elven bathrooms, or the weird economics of farming specific magic crops.
Or the social lives and, feelings of monsters. He cares more about that than how they fight, it seems.
Yeah, combat often feels like a total afterthought compared to, say, the childcare practices of some obscure humanoid race.
It's fascinating, though, because there's this huge contradiction baked right in.
How so?
Well, on one side, you have this fixation on concepts, these massive lore dumps. He insists every player choice has to be logical, right? Backed up by in-world economies. Needs structure.
Okay.
But then you look at his history as a player. Total disrespectful chaos. Remember him trying to rename every town he entered with some crude pun like Dong Rip?
Right. Yeah, I remember that. So he demands this serious, almost academic logic from his players, but he completely rejected that himself when he played. How does that work? How can you trust that?
That's the puzzle, isn't it? That's the core tension here. Maybe that chaos isn't just a personality quirk. Maybe it's part of the design. This super rigid structure filtered through his own chaotic history. It creates a unique feel. And then there's the dice irony. He's so stripped about the roles. But his own roles are consistently awful.
Yeah. Which probably helps the players, right? Accidental mercy.
Exactly. It injects this unpredictable element into what would otherwise be a really dense, controlled game. Maybe that reflects the setting itself. Alrys?
You think the setting reflects that chaos? Alrys is the setting for all his games, yeah.
It could. Alrys isn't just some generic fantasy world. It's built around a huge philosophical fight. The big question is, should magical knowledge be totally free? Or is some knowledge just too dangerous, needing to be hidden away?
And the history of Alrys basically proves the too dangerous side, right? With the Thenan Empire collapsing.
Precisely. You had the Thenans, powerful but ultimately destructive. Then the Lich Queen's 1,000 years of darkness. Total nightmare.
And then the ultimate catastrophe, the god killer Eschaton showing up and just eating magic.
Yeah, consuming magic is how Mike puts it. It wasn't just an apocalypse. It fundamentally changed the rules of the universe there. It basically burned that warning into the fabric of the setting. Unchecked knowledge equals disaster, period.
Okay, so SugarFops is set during the High Thenan period, thousands of years before the current games.
Correct. Mike calls it a time of, excitement, high adventure, reckless, techno-magical innovation, basically the peak of the hubris right before the fall.
So the past informing the future, that brings us to the all-day D&D games.
Exactly. These are huge productions, massive miniature setups, 12 hours just to prepare.
Crazy.
And Mike keeps hinting these games, set so far apart in time and space, are linked.
Through those weird NPCs.
Yeah.
The cryptic ones.
Yes. They seem aware of the timeline somehow.
Yeah.
Like in the 2023 game, there was that old man, Sam Mel, spoke in riddles, acted like he recognized the party even though they'd never met, pointed them to some helpful tower.
Right, okay.
And then the 2024 game was even more blatant. It had that Groundhog Day time loop thing happen.
Oh, yeah. Caused by the failed Lich Queen ritual.
And two characters seemed outside the loop, a street kid, Kofe, and another old man. This old guy kept heckling storytellers in the street, repeating this really weird warning. Stories must be told.
Stories must be told. Huh. So these characters bridge the time gaps.
They seem to be narrative anchors across huge time spans.
Okay, so wrapping this up for you, the listener. You've got Mike, this DM juggling intense restrictive lore with his own chaotic tendencies and bad dice rolls. He's setting campaigns thousands of years apart in a world where learning too much magic literally broke the universe.
So here's the thought to chew on. Alrys' whole history screams about the danger of forbidden knowledge, right? And then you have that old man insisting stories must be told. So Are the characters in SugarFops and All Day D&D just doomed to repeat this cycle of hubris and collapse? Or is the only way out to make sure the right story, the true story of what happened after the God Killer is finally told, understood, and maybe, just maybe, remembered this time?
Yep.
Something to think about as we see what Mike does with these High Thenan adventurers.